Tuscany. To the world, it is the heart of the Renaissance. It is wine, art, and golden sunlight. But for nearly 20 years, these same hills were a graveyard. Pause. Between 1968 and 1985, 16 people were hunted, not in the dark alleys of a city, but in the most private, romantic spots the countryside had to offer. They call him Il Mostro di Firenze, the Monster of Florence. He didn't just kill, he performed a ritual. He used a .22 caliber Beretta like a surgical tool, and he left behind scenes so horrific that they changed Italy forever. But the true horror isn't just the murders, it's what happened afterwards. As you watch this, I want you to look closely at the people in the background of these stories. The farmers, the doctors, the police. Rhetorical question. Because in the case of the monster, the person sitting next to you at a cafe might have been the one holding the knife. How does a serial killer operate for 17 years without being caught? Or, pause, was he caught but protected by someone much more powerful? It began in August 1968. Barbara Loci and her lover were shot in their car while Barbara's 6-year-old son slept in the back seat. The husband, Stefano Mele, was arrested and confessed. Case closed. Right? Pause. Wrong. 6 years later, while Mele was still behind bars, the monster struck again. Same gun, same .22 caliber bullets with a Series H marking on the casing. But this time, the killer added a signature. He moved the female victim's body. He began a series of precise, surgical mutilations that would become his calling card. Think about that for a second. If the man in prison didn't do it, who was out there in 1968? And why did he wait 6 years to strike again? Was he watching the trial? Was he laughing at the police? From 1981 to 1985, the pace accelerated. Every time there was a new moon, the couples of Florence lived in terror. The monster was no longer a ghost. He was a celebrity of death. He even mailed a piece of a victim to the lead prosecutor. He wasn't just killing, he was communicating. After years of dead ends and arresting the wrong people, the police finally landed on a man named Pietro Pacciani, a local farmer with a violent past. He was crude, he was angry, and he had been to prison before for killing a man who crossed him. The media called them the Compagnie di Merende, the snack buddies, a group of old, seemingly simple countrymen who the police claimed were a team of killers. But does this make sense to you? A group of uneducated laborers, performing precise surgical excisions in the dark of night, leaving no DNA, no fingerprints, and never being seen? Pacciani was convicted, then acquitted, then died mysteriously before his next trial. His buddies died in prison. But even today, most Italians don't believe they were the real monster. They believe Pacciani was just the material killer, the hired hand. But who hired him? And why were the body parts never found? This is where the story turns from a crime drama into a nightmare. In the early 2000s, a new theory emerged. It wasn't about a lone lunatic or a group of bumbling farmers. It was about a high society satanic cult. Investigators began looking at a wealthy doctor from Perugia, Francesco Narducci, who was found dead in a lake shortly after the last monster murder. His death was ruled a suicide, but his family insisted it was a cover-up. Some believed Narducci was the real monster, or at least the surgeon who performed the mutilations for a secret society that used the parts for occult rituals. Plus, it sounds like a movie script. But when the police tried to dig deeper, their lives were ruined. Journalists were arrested. Leads were buried. Final question. If the monster was just a simple farmer, why is the gun still missing? Why are the files still classified? And why, when you walk the hills of Florence today, do the locals still refuse to talk about the Series H bullets? The Monster of Florence didn't just kill 16 people. He killed the idea that the law is always on your side. Maybe the reason he was never caught is because he was the one writing the rules. We've traveled through the golden hills of Tuscany and into the darkest corners of the human soul. We've seen the botched trials, the missing Beretta, and the whispers of a high society cult that may still be protected today. But now, I want to hear from the pack. Was Pietro Pacciani just a violent farmer who got lucky for 20 years? Or was he a puppet, a material killer, doing the dirty work for people whose names we aren't allowed to say? There are still so many holes in this story. The Series H casings, the missing surgical tools, the witnesses who disappeared before they could testify. Does it sit right with you that the monster might still be out there? Watching videos like this one? Drop your theories in the comments below. I will read every single one of them. Was it the farmer, the doctor, or something much more organized? If you made it this far, thank you for sticking through this journey into the dark. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next deep dive.